Trump's temporary tariff deferral on Canada and Mexico sparks global tensions. The strategic maneuver by former U.S. President Donald Trump to defer tariffs on Canada and Mexico for a fleeting 30 days while steadfastly maintaining economic levies on China remains an incendiary issue on the global stage. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau corroborated that Trump had consented to the temporary postponement of tariffs on Canada for the same duration. Meanwhile, both Mexico and Canada have fired back with their own countermeasures, igniting what the Wall Street Journal editorial board has castigated as the most absurd trade conflict in modern history. This trade turbulence has sent ripples beyond North America, casting a long shadow over Cuba, a nation at an inflection point as it grapples with domestic unrest, crippling financial woes, energy deficits, and mounting climate adversities, all while delicately balancing its diplomatic entanglements with China, Russia, Venezuela, and the United States. Cuba, a nation long ensnared in the iron grip of U.S. sanctions, witnessed a brief thaw in bilateral relations during the Obama era, which sought to mend fractured ties. However, under Trump's tenure, Washington executed a policy U-turn, tightening punitive measures against the island nation. Though the Biden administration marginally relaxed certain restrictions, escalating anti-regime demonstrations, a deepening humanitarian crisis, and an exodus of migrants toward U.S. shores have only further muddled the diplomatic landscape. On January 20, 2025, with his return to the Oval Office, Trump inked an executive decree that rescinded 78 policies enacted by the preceding administration, including a slate of sanctions on Cuba, thereby signaling a recalibration of U.S. foreign policy. In the midst of these geopolitical tremors, Cuba orchestrated a seismic pivot by securing membership in BRICS, a decision heralded as a historic realignment. This strategic inclusion, championed by Russian President Vladimir Putin and ratified during Cuban President Miguel Díaz-Canel's state visit to Moscow in May 2024, represents Havana's bid to extricate itself from the suffocating stranglehold of U.S.-orchestrated economic embargoes, which have hobbled its development for more than 6 decades. The United Nations estimates that these sanctions have exacted an economic toll exceeding $1.1 trillion. By aligning with BRICS, Cuba gains a vital foothold in the new development bank, availing itself of concessional lending and developmental aid, a financial lifeline poised to blunt Washington's economic stranglehold while broadening Cuba's commercial alliances. Cuba's accession to BRICS is momentous not only for the island itself but for the broader Latin American and Caribbean geopolitical fabric. With BRICS now commanding an astonishing 36.7% of global GDP, the consortium has emerged as a formidable counterweight to Western-dominated financial hegemony. For Cuba, this partnership signifies a profound opportunity to fortify economic linkages with global heavyweights such as China and Russia, curtail its dependency on U.S. currency in trade dealings, and reinvigorate pivotal industries, most notably the tourism sector, which has been battered by years of economic malaise. Nevertheless, the tangible dividends of BRICS membership will not be immediate. Substantive economic restructuring remains imperative if Cuba is to extricate itself from its entrenched fiscal vulnerabilities. While the optics of Cuba's BRICS membership may exude triumph, the island's primary benefactors, China and Russia, offer predominantly rhetorical backing rather than material economic relief. Beijing has voiced unease regarding Havana's chronic inability to settle outstanding debts, while Moscow's generosity is curtailed by its own geopolitical entanglements and internal economic distress. Venezuela, another cornerstone ally, continues to supply Cuba with oil, yet both nations remain hamstrung by resource scarcities and domestic turbulence. Without sweeping internal reforms or a significant infusion of foreign capital, Cuba's economic and energy crises will persist unabated, and its ability to confront pressing climate challenges will hinge heavily on international goodwill. Over the long horizon, Cuba's BRICS affiliation possesses the potential to recalibrate the Caribbean's power dynamics, challenging Washington's long-standing regional preeminence and fostering alternative diplomatic coalitions. However, the nation's fate will ultimately rest upon its ability to wield these newfound alliances effectively, while simultaneously addressing its internal tribulations. As global geopolitics undergo perpetual evolution, Cuba's strategic choices will serve as a lodestar in this fluid international chess game, one fraught with both peril and promise.